let's talk with Allison in Canada, who says that they would like to talk about vaccine hesitancy.
Okay.
Allison, welcome to the show. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. And
How are you doing?
You are coming in crystal clear. I love that. We're doing really good.
Woohoo!
That's
awesome.
What are you calling in about today?
I'm calling about vaccine hesitancy, and I just want to talk about a few reasons on why people are hesitant, and some of the reasons are legit. For example, I went to try to go get the first dose of the COVID vaccine yesterday, and I have a history of blood clots, specifically DVT. It's called deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah.
And so before I got the vaccine, I was like, okay, I have a history of DVT, but I'm not on blood thinners right now, and I'm concerned that the vaccine might bring a blood clot on. So they told me to talk with I have a nurse practitioner, so I'm gonna call tomorrow and talk with her and see what she says, and then because she has access to all of my history and stuff, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, that's absolutely valid. And I do want to, highlight a couple things, because we're pushing really hard. You need to get vaccinated. It needs to happen. We need that to be able to stop variants and keep people healthy as much as possible. But there are people who just can't be vaccinated, right? There are immunocompromised people. There are people with pre-existing conditions that might conflict.
Allergic reactions.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, Allison, the fact that you are concerned about this makes perfect sense. And I love that you're going to talk to your doctor about it and actually getting that second opinion. The reason we are pushing so hard for people to get the vaccines is so that when people have legitimate health concerns and pre-existing conditions that make it more dangerous for them to maybe get it, they are not necessarily exposed to COVID, right? Because if everybody who could get one got one, then we would probably reach that level of, quote unquote, herd immunity a lot faster and protect the people who can't be vaccinated or for whom it might be dangerous. So there are absolutely real considerations to take when you are thinking about getting the vaccine. If you haven't already, definitely do talk to your doctor, right? Definitely do have that conversation, because if you have a pre-existing condition, it might not be the best option for you. But the point here is that everybody who can get it should, so that we can protect the people who can't.
Well, and the other thing that I would probably bring up is, I know that a lot of the things that people are concerned about with the vaccine, they'll look at things like, blood clots and stuff like that. And I believe that COVID also can cause blood clotting. I'm not a medical doctor, so again, I would talk with your doctor rather than, seeking medical advice from me. But I would look into that and see, like, what are all of the different things that COVID can do, because it's not just that, hey, if you get COVID, you're going to end up on a ventilator and, you're going to, have flu-like symptoms and, you might die that way. Like, there's all kinds of other things that it can cause. And some of the things that people are worried about with the vaccine, I've seen that the rates of that happening with people who actually get COVID are much higher. And so if it's a one-to-one comparison, your risk is still lower with the vaccine. Now, again, I would, especially, given your history, I would talk to your doctor, which it sounds like you're doing. You're going about it the right way. See what they recommend, weigh the pros and cons and the risks and benefits. And also, be aware that the things you're worried about, COVID might also be also have that same risk. So I would look at those, and then, if there's something that your doctor recommends, like taking blood thinners or something like that, I don't know what they would prescribe, but I would go with that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. Oh,
On your line?
there we go. That's okay. Yeah, it's okay now.
Oh, okay.
I could just hear myself there for a bit. But I was gonna say that I'm gonna ask to get all of the tests, like, because there's a blood test that can be run to see if there are any kind of coagulation issues in your body at all. And I know with DVT, it's a clot in a deep vein, and sometimes pieces of or the entire clot can dislodge and then travel up to, if it travels up to the lungs, it's a pulmonary embolism. If it travels to your heart, then it's a heart attack. And if it travels to your brain, then it's a stroke.
Yeah.
And those are all extremely dangerous conditions.
Absolutely.
So another thing too is that I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed Raynaud's syndrome or disease.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is.
And pretty much it's how do I explain this? It's like when you go out in the cold and you don't have gloves on, your hands get cold and your fingers get cold. And sometimes they can turn white or they can turn like a purple color. And then when you go back inside, your hands are warming up and then they turn like a bright, bright red. And it's like pins and needles or like a tingling or a numbing or a burning kind of sensation. And so I noticed over the last few days that my hands, and it can happen to your feet too. My feet were like purple. My toes were purple. My fingers were purple. And I'm like, I'm going in to get the vaccine and I'm like, purple.
Oh no.
So I brought it up to their attention and I'm like, I'm not sure what this is. And, like, it could be a blood clot. So they're like, do you want us to call you an ambulance? And I was like, I said, sure, why not? Like, I'm so lucky to be in Canada and I'm on government subsidy. So an ambulance is covered.
Yeah.
So I said yes to that. So I had a visit with an EMS team and my blood sugar is normal and my temperature was normal and they asked me if I wanted to go to the urgent care center. And I said, no, don't worry about it. It's a Saturday. I'll just talk with my regular doctor about it and go from there. So, because I didn't want to tie them up and, because it's not serious, right? So, and plus I want to go somewhere where there's an anticoagulation clinic.
That makes sense. So Allison, it feels like you're bringing up some really good points that are not things that we want to discount at all, especially because I know that I need to get some blood work done to make sure that I'm not immunocompromised in a particular way because they think I might be. And it's really scary if you don't know that for sure to be like, oh, is this something where like I might be at risk and not even realize it. So there are definitely a lot of different things to take into consideration. What we're saying is definitely make sure that you talk with your doctor if you know you have stuff or they have said you might have something you want to take a look at. But for the majority of people who are just healthy adults who don't have these pre-existing conditions, the reason that we are advocating for the vaccine is because we want to protect the people who can't get it or for whom COVID would be substantially worse. Yeah. So thank you.
Allison, I think if I was in your shoes, I would be trying to go out and get all my friends and family and everyone who can take the vaccine to take it because, being around people who are unvaccinated, if you're not able to get the vaccine, they're directly putting you at risk.
Absolutely.
And so being able to have these conversations and saying, hey, there are cases like me, And by getting vaccinated, like you're doing something thoughtful and compassionate to the people around you, helping protect them so that you're not a vector that it can spread through.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in, Allison. I do want to make sure that we are taking into account all kinds of experiences and all kinds of concerns while we talk about this. So your call was super helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm always happy to talk to you, V, and it's nice to talk to you, Thomas. It's the first time, but
yeah, no, I like talking to you.
I've talked to Hannah before too, so
nice.
I'm getting around. I've talked to almost everybody in the atheist community, I think. So
you got to fill in that bingo box.
So.
Yeah.
All right, have a good rest of your day, Allison.
You too.
My girlfriend Hannah has a show with Ethan Michael on the YFNA, Your Friendly Neighborhood Atheist channel, called The Pickup Line, where they talk about relationships, sex, and dating. So I think that's probably where she talked to her.
Absolutely.
So,
oh, that's awesome.
Just shout out to my honey.
Adorable.